Hey guys, welcome to Traditional Bow Hunting Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Samkovic. Today we're going to take a minute and I'm going to go through a video that you guys have done a lot of requests for. A lot of people asking me about it, email me questions all the time, send me messages through Instagram, and that is how do I set my bow up. And while I'm getting ready here, I'm leaving next week to go down to Georgia, do a little bit of hog hunting on some public land, getting some things ready, and I thought it's perfect time to do this. So I'm going to show you, go through this a little bit. First off, another question a lot of you guys ask, do I use a stringer? Yes, I actually do use a stringer every time I string my bow. Yes, it's very easy to take that bow and then put it right on there and drop it and pop it down and then restring it. It's not that hard to do. So stringer is not mandatory, but I do use one. And I don't use just a standard stringer. I actually use a tillering stringer. So as you can see, this is actually a much thicker. I cut it with a razor blade to make it fit so that it fits on there perfectly for my design, where I can still slide the string on. And then I actually have paracord that's actually on this, so I cut it to my length and make it the way I want. But I do like using a stringer. It's quick, it's easy, it's safe if my hands are wet, stuff like that. Not that, like I said, stringing it any other way is a bad way to do it. I just like a stringer. And then when I have it on there, I can take that and I can actually wrap it around once it's unstrung and then lock it in there. And I'm a fan of stringers, have been kind of my whole life. So it doesn't matter if you use it either way, but I do use a stringer myself. But I don't like the stringers that are out there today. The stringers that are out there today, most of them, they're a joke. They're too flimsy, weak. I'm not a fan of them. I like a tillering stringer like this. And I don't even know if they make these anymore. I'll take a look and see if they do. Most of them now are thicker leather, but I'll see what I can find. If I can find one for you, maybe I can put it down below as a link for you and let you know it's there. See if I can find you something. But I do use a stringer for sure each time. I like it. As far as my bow setup here, what we have, this is my classic, my Northern Miss Classic from Steve Teray. Bow spec-wise, real quick, it is a 64-inch long bow. It is a classic straight limb style bow. It is pulling 57 pounds at my 26-inch draw length. So that's the kind of the layout of the bow. Now, how I set it up, some things that people ask about. They see that people pay attention to a lot of neat things on there. This string I'm using is Fast Flight Plus. I buy it from Three Rivers. It's good material. I got tons of it, and it works really well. Yes, these bows are Fast Flight compliant. They will hold up just fine. You want to make sure you're using good, thicker loops on them, obviously. You don't want to put a 10-strand string on there, a Fast Flight. It'll be a little hard on the loops. It'll probably take it, but it'll still, I beef mine up. This is, I like my string thicker. I know there's a lot of strings out there that you can run. You know, this string is overkill, but I find when I shoot the skinny strings, the real thin skinny strings, even with padded loops, I get more vibration. I hit my arm more. So I'm not worried about how fast the bow shoots. I don't care either way. So for me, I run a 18-strand Fast Flight Plus string. This is 18 strands. And then I pad with Dacron. I use B50 Dacron and pad them out to 22 strands at the loop. So it's much thicker around the loop. That's what I do on mine. So that's what the string is. And then I don't remember the diameter of the serving. Maybe I can look it up and I'll note it here for you. But I use Fast Flight serving, and I do use a brass knock. Why? Because I'm lazy. I don't want to have to tie one on, and I never took the time to learn how to tie one on. For this, I got hundreds of them. I put it on there, I clamp it, I adjust where I need it to be, I set it, I shoot it, and then I lock it in. So it's real easy. So for me, simple brass clamp works just fine. Does it chew up the tabs a little bit? Maybe. I get a little wear mark on my tab from it. So you can see it does kind of chew it up. This tab's been used for about a year and a half. So you get a little chew mark right there. But like I said, I'll get over it. I'll be just fine. You can see it right on there. You do get a little chewing on there from that brass thing. But like I said, for me, I'm okay with it. Now the interesting part for my silencers, you will notice on here, I'll try and get that centered out for you where you can see it. Maybe if I slide out of the way, you can see it better. If I get that where it'll focus for you, should be right there. I'm looking at it on my laptop. But my string silencers are a combination. It is half and half of rubber cat whiskers, and then the other half is just regular yarn. I do that on purpose. I don't like just to have the cat whiskers in there on their own because I don't like hearing them. I can hear that when I shoot that, I draw it back and I shoot, I can hear those rubber cat whiskers making that noise. So I don't prefer to have that alone. The yarn quiets those down. So it gives me the best of both worlds. There's not a ton of yarn in there. It's a lot of cat whisker, but that little bit of yarn keeps them quiet. The yarn that's in there works really good as a silencer, and I just like the combination. It's sweet, simple, and easy. It dries pretty quick because, like I said, there's not a ton of yarn in there. If I get burrs inside of the yarn, I still have the silencing capability of the cat whiskers. So I've been running them that way for 20 years. I've just always liked it, and it's sweet, simple, and easy. I'll do a video that shows how I cut them, put them together, and stick it in there. But it's very simple. Just a couple pieces of yarn, a couple pieces of cat whisker, slide them into string, snap it a few times so they stretch out. Good, done, and easy. So those are what I put on there. On the bottom, I do like having a rubber bow tip cap on there. Now, I do not use a full-size one because I don't want it to come up over the string. If it comes over the length of that string, then water can get in there. So you can see I cut mine so that it is actually shorter, so that it's only on the actual bow tip. It's not actually where, there is no way for water to be able to, let me get that lined up for you. There's no way for water to be able to get in there. It's solid all the way around. That's the way I run it. I like it. I do that on purpose because I set my bow down on stuff all the time. I'm always setting it on the ground. I like having that little rubber cap on there. I usually lose one every year or every other year. I'll lose one. It'll just come off because, like I said, it's not real long. It's on there, but they're dirt cheap, pretty easy to put on, and it doesn't bother me. And it takes me literally 3 seconds to kind of lay it on there, look at it, and go, okay, right there, and I just I take it off and cut it with a razor blade and stick it back on. So whether you need it or not, completely up to you. But I like having that on there for putting my bow down all the time, everywhere. That way I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to look for where my shoe is to stick it on there. I don't have to nothing. I set it down on concrete, doesn't make any difference. That rubber tip protector that's on there just makes life really easy for me. So that's set up that way. My grip that I run on a bow, this is bicycle inner tube. I will put a link down below for you for a couple of them for different sizes, for recurve and for longbow, but it's just bicycle inner tube. It's easy, it's cheap, I got tons of it around there, but I like the rubber grip. I prefer that grip so that it doesn't ever, it doesn't get wet, it doesn't stay wet, it doesn't hold any scent. It's an awesome setup, so I use that constantly. I have for the last 20 years. I've used rubber grip ever since I started shooting longbow. Rubber grips is all I ever use on there. I do cut my own striker plates, and I do cut my own leather. Just simple pieces. I'll put some links on there for you, so if you want to see where to get it at, where you can get a big 8.5 by 11 sheet of this stuff already with the adhesive on there, and you just cut it to the size you want and put it on. But I do make my own because I want it bigger. I don't want to have just a little finger. So when I take an arrow, such as this, when I grab that arrow and I have that set up and I go to throw an arrow on my string, on my shelf, if I hit here, tip's loose there, we go. But if I hit here, I hit on this angle, doesn't matter. Wherever I'm hitting that shelf, I'm hitting leather rest on there, okay? There's not a chance of me missing just a little strip in the middle and making that, noise banging on wood. I'm always going straight to that leather on any angle that I come in at because it's around my whole shelf. So that's why I set it up that way and do it like that. You will, excuse me. Also notice that I have a zip tie sitting right in here. Now I do this, I should do it more often because I always have them with me. But when I'm in a tree stand especially, I get tired of dropping my arrows. They're longbows. The shelf is not very big. So when you put that arrow on there, you hang it up in the tree. If the wind blows and it does one of those things, then that arrow is going to come falling off the rest. Having that zip tie in there lets me just roll my finger back and grab it, and then I can pull it up anywhere I want right there. And then when I put that arrow on, when I stick this arrow on that shelf, now that arrow is not coming off. It doesn't come off. That zip tie piece right there holds it. When I pull my bow off the tree and I'm about to shoot, I grab my bow from the tree, I bring it around. What I do is with my index finger, I push that down right there. Now it's gone. It's out of the way. It doesn't even exist, and I am ready to shoot. So it's real easy to move it out of the way. If the shot doesn't present itself, all I do is roll my rubber grip back down a little bit so that I can get in there, and then I grab it and just pull it right back up like this. And then it's there, and it holds it. So for me, sweet and easy. Like I said, ready to go. If I see it and I get ready to take that shot, I can just take my finger and push it down out of the way. It's gone. Now I'm ready to shoot, so I'm set. So I do keep that that in there. As far as that zip tie in there, it just makes life real easy for me. I keep a bunch of them in my vest pocket so that way I can pull it out real easy and stick it right in there if I need a new one, or if I lose this or forget to put one in there. You can also put in there too, another thing you can do is put a stick. Any kind of regular stick as well too off the tree you're on. So that's another beauty of the rubber grip. It allows me to stuff things in there and make it work really good. So that's what I do. I use a Great Northern quiver on here. Some of you guys are going to ask too. Brace height wise is a very personal thing on a longbow. Start somewhere low and work up until everything kind of jives and feels good, but you want to be as low as you can where you get away with no arm slap and where you get away with a good quiet bow and you're getting the efficiency out of it. Lower brace height, the better. I start mine usually about 6.5 and I work my way up. I run about 6 3/4 is about where I run my brace height, which is higher than a lot of people do. But if I run it at 6.5, I start getting a cherry on my arm and I start hitting my arm. If I run it at 6 3/4 like this, I never hit my arm. You know, that string doesn't come in contact with my arm. I don't know the reasons why, but that's the way it works for me. So I run mine about 6 3/4, sometimes even a titch more if I'm wearing heavy winter clothing. It's not uncommon for me to give it another couple twists in there just to make sure that with that extra bulk, I have no interference even with an arm guard on. But that's a personal preference where you run that. Same with your knock height. Find out what's going to tune right for you and where you're going to be at. I usually run mine. I got it marked on my actual square, so I don't remember what the number is. It's just a mark I got on there. But I'm guessing we're somewhere about the neighborhood of, 1/2 inch high. Somewhere in there, about probably a little less than a 1/2 inch or about 1/2 inch high is about where I run my knock height on there. I run a Great Northern quiver. That's what I have on here. I've been running this quiver here, believe it or not. Now the hood is pretty new. I got the hood from Steve Teray over Northern Miss Longbows. It has his logo on it. He made that for me, or had Great Northern make that for me, so I really like it. But my other hood that you see right here, this hood and this quiver, so other than this particular hood, this quiver is the same quiver I've been using for over 20 years. I love it. I've had to change the straps a few times. I've had to change the gripper a couple of times. And I changed the hood because of the fact that I wanted one with Steve's logo on it. So I did have that changed out. But this setup, this Great Northern quiver is incredible. Now you will notice in here, this is a 5-arrow quiver with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrows in it. I showed you guys how I do this. The design of a Great Northern quiver has this little pocket right here on their... I'll pop that right off, but this spot right on that quiver, right there, the way this arm, that metal arm and their gripper meet right here, creates a perfect nesting pocket for a piggybacker. This is a piggybacker right here, sweet, simple little 2-arrow adapter kind of thing. Again, I'll put some links to this stuff down below for you. But that piggybacker goes there, and it allows me to lock that arrow in. And if you look at that, that locks pretty tight in and it can't move because of that arm that's there and because of the quiver thing here, it cannot move. I put an extra spot in my hood foam in there for that arrow and that arrow stays there. That is a perfect set that's not rolling or flopping. It is rock solid and not moving. That is that making it a 6-arrow quiver. So I really like that function. Gives me one more option in there. I can run 2 judos in the back if I want to, like I do with this one. I carry my tab on my judo arrow. It's sweet, it's easy, that way when I take it off, I'm set and ready to go. When I'm done shooting, I just put my judo right through the hole of my tab and then put it in, and then it stays and my tab is always on my bow. So that's kind of how I set it up, always just hanging right there and set up and ready to go. I do replace my quiver foam on the inside with white foam. You can see in there, I'm going to try and get it where you can see in there, but you can see that that foam inside of there is white. I do that on purpose. So at night when I get done hunting and I'm done and I've taken my arrow off the string in the dark, when I go to put that back on, I can see that white foam in darkness, at night outside. I can see that foam and I can see the darkness where that's all tore up from or dirtied up from my arrow, but I can see real easily to put that in without having to put on my headlamp or anything like that. So I like the white foam. The white foam is from an old, like a Blue Ridge Target, getting very hard to find. Very few people make them anymore. If you don't want to use that and you need to replace your quiver foam, yoga blocks work really good. These yoga blocks, I'll put a link down there for you for them, but you get them right on Amazon. They're dirt cheap. I would go with the light gray color because it's going to give you that same effect. It's not that black. This one has black in it, the standard black, and Great Northern did a good job with these. And this is a great insert in there. Now, it doesn't work for me with my 6-arrow setup, so it wouldn't work anyway. But I'm not a fan of the black. So, but a light gray or a white works fantastic. I got enough of this white stuff to probably last me the rest of my life. You know, I have a couple of those big 2-foot by 2-foot targets. 3 inches thick, and that's what I use, and I just cut it with a knife. Yoga block though, like the one I'll put below for you, will do the same exact thing, and it's a great foam and works awesome if you need to replace it. I also have a spot that I showed in another video, but in here, where are you at on there? But inside of here, back here, you're going to see a little slot right there. That spot in there is where I can put an extra broadhead. So it actually becomes 6.5 arrow quiver. So if I take this arrow out, and so let's just say that this was my hunting arrow with a broadhead on there, and I shoot and I stick this in the ground, or I drop it out of my tree and it hits the ground, when I bring it back up, if that broadhead is bad, I can unscrew that broadhead off the end of this, take that arrow, put it on that other broadhead that's back there, screw it on, and then I have a brand new arrow again. So my quiver actually becomes a 6.5 arrow quiver. I have 7 broadheads, 6 shafts. 6 full arrows and 7 broadheads I can fit inside of this quiver. So it's a beautiful setup when I need it to be that way. Mainly I only run that extra head when I'm hunting like Missouri, Kansas, places like that where if I'm out, if I get dropped off and I'm going to be there by myself and I'm spending an entire day in an area, I may have the opportunity to fill 2 or 3 tags, and if I do, if I get that opportunity, I'm taking it. This gives me the option to have enough arrows right there with me if I need to, plus a couple extras because I'm pretty notorious for shooting coyotes and squirrels. Nothing tastes better in deer camp than squirrels. So any opportunities I get, I may take advantage of it. So it gives me that option of having 7 sharp broadheads and 6 full arrows ready to go in that quiver. So that's kind of how I run my bow. Sweet, simple, nothing fancy, but those couple little tweaks, like the silencers and the quiver mods and a few things like that, they really help out a lot for me. Now, when I unstring this, as I was telling you about, what I like about it is a string keeper, which may or may not matter to some people, but when I unstring this bow, I can take right here. See how this is? I have this cut to length on purpose so that I can wrap it around 2 times, come up and over, and when I lock it on the top, it holds that tight because I wrap that string around my string. So now I don't have this string sliding down and all this extra string flopping around out there. As you can see on there, it is perfectly set, wherever you are right there. Perfectly set, perfectly tight. I don't know if that's focusing. I can't tell right there, but anyway, that's how I got that set up. Sweet, easy, and simple. And that's kind of why I like having a stringer on there when I need to bow. If it's snowing, dirty, raining, anything going on, I don't have to worry about cleaning anything off, fighting it on my leg. I just stick my foot in there, and it's done, and I'm ready. I don't even put it on the ground. I don't even stick the stringer on the ground and step on it. I just put my foot in there for a little bit of pressure. But you can see how fast and easy that is. Sweet, simple, 2 wraps around the string, up and over. Lock it on the top. That stays on there. That's not going anywhere. None of it's going anywhere. And it's a nice tight package to throw in my car without having a chance of going to grab it and my string being loose and that string snagging on something and me pulling that stuff out of the car or catching it on anything in the car. Just sweet, simple, easy package. But that just kind of breaks it down for you. That shows you how I set my bow up. So any questions, comment them down below. And thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.